Welcome, everyone. This is the Ends Justify the Memes, the show where the lowest of the low, that is the most wretched of wretched and deplorable to end all deplorables. Two heterosexual, white Christian males from the American South talk about culture, philosophy, history, fitness, and what it means to be a man in the 21st century. I'll be your host, Bill. This is my co-host and producer, Tank, and below us is our friend, KizzaGT, who is here once again. So, crack open a beer and lend us your ear because the ends always justify the memes. All right, guys. The late start is my fault because my computer was being screwy. My wife also just got home from North Carolina. She's been out of town all week, so it's kind of running behind on everything. And then for some reason, I wasn't getting any sound, and we had to reboot my computer and a bunch of other stuff. But we are here now. We are live, and Tank's got some whiskey, so he'll be operating at full capacity.
Yeah. I deliberately didn't watch any of the news for the last few days because I knew that it was going to pop off. So I wanted to be surprised for this show. So you guys feel free to go and lay me into this stuff.
Kiz, go ahead, man.
Well, it seems to me that the Oxford English Dictionary needs to be lobbed at a few heads at a few people after what happened on the 6th of January.
Go on.
Well, you see here, if I were to look up a certain word beginning with I, that being insurrection, the definition of such word is a violent uprising against an authority or government. And I will say, if that's an insurrection, my God, then my country's got a good chance of taking America back.
Yeah, I think me and Bill were talking about this on the show on Wednesday. What I saw that was going on wasn't really, in terms of American history, it wasn't exactly that crazy compared to what we have done in the past. It looked pretty. I mean, I know somebody died and everything. I don't want to downplay it completely, but it seems like nothing that big really went down.
It looked like to me that the police overreacted. They obviously got out their firearms, which was ridiculous. They shot a lady in the face, I don't really think that it's a good idea to go to these things and storm the Capitol building and all, but I have video. I have video of the police just letting them in. And I 100,000% do. In fact, if we do a little screen share real quick, I'll bring it up for you.
Oh, yes.
So,
to do the screen share.
Let's start this over.
And this was on the 6th, correct? Yeah, no, the 8th.
Okay.
You'll see there's police officers in these halls. Look at that. That's all Capitol Police.
Where's my red carpet? Where's my red carpet?
Yeah, that doesn't really look like an insurrection from my point of view here.
So, and then we've seen that that these people walked through. They stayed mostly in the lines. There were probably a few, ruffians, if you would, who went about and did some little tossing around of things. In fact, I have a bunch of memes on that because I thought about doing it today, but usually Saturdays we don't run the meme cast news, so we'll do it with Don on Wednesday. We'll see what he has to say about it.
But the ends justify the memes, don't they?
Yes. And then I also have a couple videos. Well, for one, Donald Trump was taken off Twitter for calling for peace, essentially.
Right.
You can't find his tweet anywhere now because they've deleted him. They banned him from Facebook. This is like major media gaslighting. So I have these articles. I archived this one, and I have these articles here that show Trump calls for peace from the U.S. World News, but there's no tweet or anything attached. You can't see it, and there's several of these. So, breaking, Twitter censored Donald Trump. And then here we have Trump said to go home and be peaceful. And there were people at this protest. He called nothing for incitement. And right now, I don't have it brought up, but right now, I believe it's the New York Times have put out that Nancy Pelosi went to the Pentagon to try to essentially plot a coup with the Pentagon, and they said, "Ma'am, we can't do that. You don't have any authority over us."
What's the point of plotting a coup when he's already been voted out?
Well, he's not been booted out. Like right now, they're trying to impeach him. I mean, he's on the way out. He's got 8 days.
That's what I'm saying. Like, what's even the point of freaking out this hard? Go ahead. Yeah.
I can tell you why. It's so he cannot run in 2024.
Right.
Because it's afraid.
Yes.
You think so?
They're humiliated. I think. I'm pretty certain they are. And they need to absolutely destroy anything of Donald Trump. Look at the calls. I believe it's Cory Bush. I covered this on All Minus One. You know, Cory Bush is saying we need to round up all these people, have them arrested, and whatever else. Except for, you know, I have a little video clip too that I like to play quite often, but I'm going to play it here. Let me get it pulled up here. Hold on. Do the old screen shareage. So I have this. Go ahead, Tank. Now, I don't know if the audience will be able to hear the volume because we've done this before and it didn't quite work out.
Oh, yes, this classic.
Yeah.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless
When
fuck.
they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right up to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face, and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him. Punch some people in the face.
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look, as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
I have thought an awful lot about growing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight. And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels. But this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, where do I begin with this?
Yeah.
Where do I begin with this iconic clip?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, and thank God Codron Pool did that, put all that together, because, I mean, we know it, but the media will try and gaslight you and to say, no, we didn't call for violence. No, we didn't do this. They've been doing this for 5 years before Trump was even elected. They've been doing this nonsense. And now they're outraged that people on the right got it and had enough and basically didn't do anything that terrible. I mean, they did fight with the police, but it looked to me like the police were aggressive. That's what Don from Plebeian Media said, and we'll be talking with him on Wednesday, so we'll see. We'll get a firsthand account of what went down because he was at the Capitol building. He didn't go in or anything like that, but he was present outside. It's just the level of crazy making is mind-boggling, and they're now purging people on social media. Elijah Schaffer got purged from Facebook yesterday and Instagram. I think he might have got his account restored last I saw, but I'm not positive. Brandon Strzok of Walk Away, who basically has done nothing wrong. He's basically just saying, hey, leave the Democratic Party. Can't do that. Can't leave the Democrats. Nope, can't leave the Democrat Party. They're the one party system. They're the power, right?
So from what I saw in the a little bit of the news I watched, one person got shot by the cops, and a couple other people got injured. Right? Is that what happened?
Yes.
4 people died, from what I understand.
4 people died. Okay, what did the other 3 people die of?
I'm not positive. One was a cop that I believe had a heart attack.
All right.
I don't know. I mean, we can look it up real quick, but I haven't gotten to that nitty gritty. But I do know that back in the summertime, there were buildings on fire, and there were helicopter photos of DC that looked like it was, some sort of Mad Max hellscape or the beginning of Demolition Man, if you ever watch that. So it's absolutely insane. Yeah, Yiz is saying in the comment section it's war. I don't think it's full scale war yet, Yiz. This is just from a former Marine tactical perspective. This is a skirmish. We're definitely in a war of ideas, and the full scale war might come eventually because when people don't get heard, you get violence. That's the bottom line.
Well, that's the issue that we're going to see. I feel like going forward is all the things that were said when everyone was protesting for the Black Lives Matter or whatever, and people got hurt or people died. It was that's just like they were saying before. No one said protests have to be nice, and now. We saw what happened in real time. We even had, Cocaine Mitch up there saying how these guys were a threat to democracy and these riots. And they're really quick to call these riots. So I don't know. I mean, part of me feels like this is to be expected. I don't really know what to make of it beyond that. It's definitely worth being upset over. I can see that, but I don't know. Like, I kind of saw this coming. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've talked about it, but let's let Kizza get a word in or two because I've been running my mouth. Kizza?
Sorry, I had myself muted there. Let's see here. Well, I mean, Pelosi, she's a fucking boomer. See you next Thursday. Who needs to kindly take a short walk off a very, very, very long curve, as they say. A very high one at that, preferably the Empire State Building. The bold chick, I don't know who the hell she is, but she needs a steel chair wrapped around the back of her head. And I'm talking Attitude Era steel chair, not current day steel chairs. Let's see here. Kamala Harris, sorry, dear, you were the biggest perpetrator of the freaking crime bill from the 1990s with your partner and Joe Biden created. So know your fucking place. Who else is there? That old cunt who's saying about saying that we're not welcome. I mean, good thing. I like to see her do it in front of a MAGA crowd. She would be running, and the MAGA crowd would turn around and say, "Why are you running? Why are you running?" And I don't know who that twat from Hollywood is, but let's be frank here. Most people in Hollywood can't fight to save their lives. And who else is there? Oh, the one that got assassinated? Yeah. How would you like to be a victim of a little drive-by, dear?
Oh my God. Well, okay.
Look, I mean, they're trying to impeach the president right now. They need to get it done within 8 days, and I don't think that's going to happen. But they're going to try and do it and push it through for inciting all this stuff. Yet they have all this rhetoric for years, and on top of it, we just got slapped in the face with that little $600 stimulus. Oh, here, little good citizen, have your tax money back, and wait until your taxes rise under Biden, because that's going to happen. He's going to let the tax bill expire, the tax cuts, and I wouldn't be surprised if he hikes them eventually, or Kamala does.
Well, they already announced it. They
Yeah.
already announced during their reign, but they claim it will be only for people earning above $400,000 a year, which I highly doubt. I highly doubt that. And he's already accepted the Green New Deal, which will put states like Pennsylvania out of business.
Well, I'm all about the divorce and having Jesus land, and they can be the United States of Canada or something. Everyone else.
No. I got a better idea. What should happen is all these filthy traitors should just all be rounded up, lined up by the wall, and be used as test dummies for a new railgun.
Well, there you go.
And also, to be a filthy capitalist, take bets, make it pay-per-view so nobody outside the United States can watch it unless they pay for it. But also have bets with betting companies to see how many heads it can shoot through.
So, Tank, I have a New York Post article up here. It says, if you want to bring that up on screen real quick, it says 5 people who died during the U.S. Capitol invasion included a military vet who was shot, a cop who collapsed while fending off rioters, and 3 protesters who perished from medical emergencies. It says, along with a gunned-down Air Force veteran and Trump supporter, Ashley Babbitt, pro-Trump protesters from Pennsylvania, Alabama, and Georgia died after suffering medical episodes during the violent uprising. Including one woman was trampled by a mob storming the building. There was no mob storming the building, though. I didn't see that action. There's no video anywhere of the kind of stampeding or violence that we've seen in the other peaceful protests. And what I find amazing is all of the hyperbolic language that's applied to this, of course, but not and never was to the left. And it's like I said on Wednesday. You have the wrong politics. If you believe in constitutionalism, if you're a nationalist, if you believe in freedom and liberty, if you're not into the global cabal, if you're not into the New World Order, guess what? You have the wrong politics, and it doesn't matter what you do. You are always a deplorable, right? It's part of the stick of the show. So anyways, it says one of the people who died from a medical emergency was Kevin Greason, 55, of Athens, Georgia. Now, it doesn't say what the medical emergency is, so could have had a heart attack, could be diabetes, could have been something like that. I wouldn't have assumed, being very cold that day, and the weather's pretty similar here where I'm at than it is to DC. I wouldn't assume that anyone died of heat stroke or anything stupid like that. But yeah, it goes on. But basically, medical emergencies, the only person that was apparently a lady was trampled. I don't know how that happened. But the other, the main one is the woman who was shot, the Air Force veteran, shot through a window, by the way. Like, whether it be when I was in the military or worked in law enforcement, if I did something like that, that would have been like a major screw up. Like, it's one thing if you're in all out warfare, but generally you have rules of engagement and, in the military, and you have very specific rules in which you are allowed to return fire or defend yourself. And shooting through a window at an unarmed person, and that's the other thing I've heard too, is the media keeps saying they're armed. I have yet to see a singular picture of anyone armed. Like, if you can show it to me, I'll believe it, but I have yet to see it.
Yeah, if you shoot someone from your house who's trying to break in, and you shoot them through the window before they get inside, then you'll be on the hook for that one. So they're obviously got a little bit of a double standard going on here. But I guess I'm still trying to process this myself. So so we're thinking that I guess the run theory for this impeachment is that they want to impeach Trump to make him ineligible to run again because he's like a Napoleon figure now or something. Like, what exactly are they worried about?
Well, the thing is he didn't call for violence and or any other things that they suggested he called for. I actually have a video here that I think is probably banned pretty much everywhere, but I have a video of Trump speaking about this whole thing. Let's see if I can get this. Yeah. So hold on. Before you bring that up, let's make sure I have that sound enabled. I don't know if it'll work or not, but I don't know if the last video we played, if it played the sound or not. Okay, Tank, you can go ahead and bring that up.
This attack on the United States Capitol. Like all Americans, I am outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem. I immediately deployed the National Guard and federal law enforcement to secure the building and expel the intruders. America is and must always be a nation of law and order. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy. To those who engaged in the acts of violence and destruction, you do not represent our country. And to those who broke the law, you will pay. We have just been through an intense election and emotions are high, but now tempers must be cooled and calm restored. We must get on with the business of America. My campaign vigorously pursued every legal avenue to contest the election results. My only goal was to ensure the integrity of the vote.
Speaking of the legal challenges, what he did was perfectly legal in challenging the election, and yet Joe Biden spent something like $300 million to contest his legal challenges. Now, again, if Biden was the legitimate winner and all of the audits that never happened actually went through, then he would be shown as the winner. If you are that confident, why would you block the legal challenges? I mean, it is what it is, I guess. But people, I know people watching us, I know the three of us are aware, but people just get so fooled by so much nonsense in the media. And it is literally tearing this country apart.
So doing, I was fighting to defend American democracy. I continue to strongly believe that we must reform our election laws to verify the identity and eligibility of all voters and to ensure faith and confidence in all future elections. Now Congress has certified the results. A new administration will be inaugurated on January 20th. My focus now turns to ensuring a smooth, orderly, and seamless transition of power. This moment calls for healing and reconciliation. 2020 has been a challenging time for our people. A menacing pandemic has upended the lives of our citizens, isolated millions in their homes, damaged our economy, and claimed countless lives. Defeating this pandemic and rebuilding the greatest economy on earth will require all of us working together. It will require a renewed emphasis on the civic values of patriotism, faith, charity, community, and family. We must revitalize the sacred bonds of love and loyalty that bind us together as one national family. To the citizens of our country, serving as your president has been the honor of my lifetime. And to all of my wonderful supporters, I know you are disappointed, but I also want you to know that our incredible journey is only just beginning. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
And what we got going on there is a video, as far as I know, that is being blocked everywhere because he says it's contesting the election. It's like, oh, there's no election fraud, blah, blah, blah. So it's blocked. So people don't even know that he condemned any violence that happened. They don't know this stuff. And the media is going to, like they always do, like they've been doing for the last 5 years, they're just going to lie about it. And it's a very, very tall mountain that we all have to climb because, like I like to remind everyone, we have no institutional power. And that's the thing. The people that have the institutional power are going to make it very, very hard for our lives.
Do you see a de-Trumpification coming on in the future? Like, do you think they're going to try to erase this guy as a figure, or do you think, I mean, I don't know. What do you?
He's still at a 43% approval rating.
Yeah.
That's of today. He still has a high approval rating. The half of the country, more than half of the country, because if you look at the registered voters that were on the books, you know, Biden couldn't make up 30 million voters that he needed to get or supposedly got that just came out of nowhere. So more than half the country voted for Trump, it seems. And I mean, this is a matter of elites. It's a matter of plutocrats. It's a matter of our aristocracy and those who wish to tell you, dear citizen, how to live and how you're going to like it. You know, the whole Great Reset and all that. Klaus Schwab, you'll own nothing and you'll like it, peasant. That's kind of what I see going on, man. I don't know, Kizza, say something, brother.
I mean, hell, I love to see the registered voters by 2019. That's what I'd like to see. The registered voters for 2019, just to get a reference point.
Oh yeah, do we know what that is? Do you know what Trump's approval rating was in 2019?
No, registered voters I'm talking about.
Oh, how many registered? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for 2019.
I don't know. I have no idea. You know, maybe I'm just completely dumb, but I kind of see this a little bit as a white pill, and I'm usually not the one to drop white pills. But the fact that they've had to pull out all the stops and make themselves look this desperate, to me, it's a silver lining at least. So you know, I don't know. I'm trying not to get too bummed about it. Maybe that's naive. But I don't know. It's kind of like you're saying, Bill. If we could fix the messaging, I feel like that would help a lot.
Look who's here.
Oh, Alex is there. Brioche is a
how to use a bun, bro.
Okay,
they make brioche buns, guys. They make brioche buns, and they're excellent. They're excellent. Alex is using white bread. I don't know how old he is, but you know, I mean, that's like a 19-year-old's take on food or something. I mean, come on, man. Come on.
What was I saying? Okay. This is really basic. I like pretzel buns.
Pretzel buns aren't bad.
I like a pretzel bun.
The thing is, I don't like bread. I generally don't like bready things. So brioche is nice and light and airy, and you get all the burger that you want. You know.
Okay. What about a patty melt? Is that the bread to meat ratio and a patty melt? Is that good?
Well, what do you define as a patty melt? Because I'm not really sure. Like, I'm not.
I go to Steak and Shake and I say, "Give me the patty melt," and whatever that they bring me, that's what I consider a patty melt.
2 burger patties and that's on bread. That's on bread. Okay, I got you. Yeah. No, I like that. I eat burgers on bread sometimes, but see, then the best way to do that's like Texas toast. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice and garlicky and yeah.
God damn it! Just eat. Why are you making me think of food? God damn it!
All right, so back to your point, though, Tank. Let's get back to some seriousness here. You were saying white pills. I think that there's going to be more people waking up, and that's what I continue to say. But unless we speak like radical truth, and I mean be just absolutely blunt with everyone we encounter as much as possible. I'm not saying you have to be aggressive. I'm really not generally that aggressive when I talk to people. I tend to ask them questions. I try to meet them where they're at. But if you ask them questions, well, why do you think this? Why do you think that? You know, what? Well, can I show you something? Are you willing to see counter evidence? You need to do that because some people wish to live the lie. They cannot be reached. You know, that's an ideologue. They are literally possessed by the ideology. They cannot think outside of the ideology, and they're basically an NPC. There's no talking to them. There's no saving them. They have to be broken down and destroyed by their own ideology, which will happen because the left loves to eat itself. It always does. I mean, hell, the guy that wrote Mao's Little Red Book came after later on by the Red Army, and they're like, you violate a Little Red Book, and he's like, I'm the guy that wrote it.
Yeah, I mean, you see that a lot in those purity spirals.
Yeah. It's almost like
go ahead.
It's almost like it's a secular religion. Is it a secular religion, ladies and gentlemen? Please tell me I'm seeing things. Please tell me I'm seeing things. Please tell me I'm seeing things. Please. I got this tinfoil out literally crushing my skull in. Please tell me it's all. Please tell me it's just a conspiracy.
Well, this is the weird thing to me. All right, so we watched that video of all these people saying how people like us ultimately are the enemies and the biggest terrorist threat. Whatever they say. Okay, cool.
Oh wait. Sorry, Tank. I got to interrupt. I forgot about Don Lemon's point. If what he said is true, that white men are the biggest terrorist threat, then why the hell does he let white men terrorize his bumhole? Asking for a friend,
right? What's crazy is so there were a few articles a few years back about the New York City police talking about hate crimes and how they were basically against Jews. They're the primary target of hate crime in New York City. And they would not say, this was in the New York Times, they would not say that it was black men and it was Muslims going after Jewish people in New York City. And the police that they interviewed were basically like, well, it's not what you think. You would be surprised. And what they were trying to hint at was, it's not white people doing it. Of course, it's not white people. Like the white people in the U.S. for the most part, unless they live in very, very ghetto, areas, are not the ones doing all the crime. They're not doing the hate crimes. You'll see reports of hate crimes many a times where they'll be like these black lesbian women or trans women, they were beaten and blah blah blah. The hate crimes are through the roof. We have to stop white supremacy. And then you look at the perpetrators, and they're two black men. It is all the time this happens. And often you'll find if you don't see a picture or the race of the person in the article, I can guarantee you it is some protected race with this stupid intersectional nonsense that we have. And to my mind, I just want to get rid of it. Let's just talk truth. If a white dude does something horrible, let's blame a white dude. If it's if it's an Asian guy or a black guy or whatever we're going to talk about, whatever your ethnicity is, I don't care. I just care that a crime happened. I don't like the idea of hate crimes. But we have this thing, and it's all about power. It's all about postmodernism, where we have hate crimes. And it's not a hate crime to go out and loot and burn things down if you have the correct politics, if you are on the left. And that's a problem. That's a huge, huge problem that we have to confront.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you mentioned that. I mean, Yiz invented a great term for this. It's called a hush crime.
Yes.
The good old hush crime. But it's funny you mention that because in my city, my country, should I say, earlier this year, they released a certain report which took them much longer to say. And within their report, they, ironically enough, admitted that minorities were very, very guilty persistently based on, quote unquote, unreliable data, quote unquote, that minorities are consistently overrepresented in a very, very particular type of crime. But when the media heard with it, they just went, "Oh, white men are the majority of perpetrators."
I mean, if your nation's the majority of Englishmen, Scots, and Welsh, they're going to be white.
Yeah.
But per capita, per group, right? Per capita.
Yeah, but what's even sorry to interrupt, Bill, but what's even funnier is one of the data points even admitted that only white people were responsible for 30% of the crimes. And last time I checked, 30% is not the majority.
Well, that was kind of my point, because it's how they play with the statistical numbers. It's like, we all know the 1350 meme, right? But
well, funny you mentioned that. It's actually gone up.
Yeah, it has gone up. It's not even 13% though. It's not even 13%. It's less than that.
I know. Well, according to Snopes, because they fact checked this, I love Snopes with their fact checking. It's 13.5, 57.8 now.
Yeah, I saw that a while back as a meme that they were like, "No, fact check. This is incorrect. It's actually higher."
Yeah. I mean, hell, you are right. If we want to be technical, it's 6.5, 57.8.
I think it's actually lower than that. I think it's like 3% because there's an age group range, and then you have to also account who lives in certain.
Well, I was specifically referring to just ethnicity and gender.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. If you break it down to age group as well, and then location, it's probably less than 3%, which is crazy. Meaning that half of all people murdered in the United States is probably done by around 3% of the population. That's absolutely insane. And
Yeah. I would like to make a statistical meme right now. I like to make a meme referencing a certain group. Did you know that over 93% of police interactions with Black Americans doesn't end with police brutality? Therefore, police brutality is a myth.
Right.
Because 93% of protests, BLM protests, were peaceful.
My daughter plays a lot of games. Kids these days gaming and all that online, and she's got friends over in the UK, and they're always complaining about the Packies. And of course, I know you guys over there. You generally call it properly. You call people from what we say is the Middle East. Here, we call them Asians, and people who are Oriental or from the Far East, which is for some reason that's offensive in the United States. I don't know why.
Well, I mean, for me, I distinguish them between South Asians and East Asians.
Yeah, okay.
Because that is geographically correct.
Right. But either way, like people over here sometimes will read the headlines that Asians did this or Asians did that in the UK, and they're thinking Chinese people, Koreans did this, because they don't seem to understand. They're talking about Middle Easterners, primarily Pakistanis, because it isn't Indians who came over. They don't have that kind of culture, if you would.
No. I mean, I do know Sikh. I mean, we did have an issue with the Sikhs in the late '60s, early '70s, but that was over freaking religious freedoms versus company uniform policy.
Okay. But right, I understand that. But most of the Indian population that did come over to live in the British Isles there are they're pretty much integrated. I mean, right? I mean, it's the same here in the It's the same here in the U.S. They've pretty much integrated. There's not a big deal. I would say a lot of Muslims have integrated as well, but there's still that faction of them that have not. And we're seeing that rise in our government now with trash like Ilhan Omar, who want to use her religion as a shield and a crutch to allow her to say and do horrible things. So I don't know. Alex is
I mean, technically speaking, since Ilhan Omar is actually a refugee, why the hell is she allowed to run? Why the hell is she in the Senate? Last time I checked, refugees can't do that.
Well, Somalis, well, no, she can run because she's a citizen. She can't run for president.
I thought she was a refugee, though.
She is, but she has citizenship.
Wow. Sounds like I need to make a little call there. Also, I'm so funny. That reminds me. Sorry.
That's why she married her brother, dude. That's why she married her brother.
I was just going to get to that. Have they properly investigated who on earth she's married to? Or better yet, let's check the kids. Make sure they do a little DNA test, or if they have any specific medical problems, because we all know that part of the world, and it's true in my country, those of the religion of peace do have a bad habit of creating incest children.
Yeah, it's very high. It's like 30% incestual rate of folks in the Middle East. It's mostly like first cousins and stuff marrying, if I'm not mistaken.
My God, and they say Alabama's the incest central of the world.
I mean, I'm from West Virginia, so that was always the joke. Well, I'm in West Virginia. I'm from Maryland, so we used to always make fun of West Virginia and Pennsylvania. Because if you go into Pennsylvania, man, people for some reason they don't know how to drive in Pennsylvania. All of a sudden, they just can't drive any longer.
Well. When it comes to London, most people can't bloody drive. Jesus Christ! Anyway, if I had a camera, like a GoPro, walking around seeing how many traffic violations I see with people driving in London. Oh Lord, I would say just one little walk in London, I would get at least 100 people their license taken away.
Well, I mean, we get off topic all the time, but let's get back to the matters at hand. And I do want to bring this up. I do want to show you this real quick. This is Cori Bush, and that she's called for essentially a purge, and so has AOC. And so this is her pinned tweet here. And It says,
yes.
Yeah, my first resolution in Congress will be the call for the expulsion of the Republican members of Congress who incited this domestic terrorist attack. It's funny, I have all these notifications on Twitter because I'm like never on Twitter, but I was trash talking the other day, some commies. So
Yeah. I wonder if the Cory Bush here understands what the definition of a domestic terrorist is. Ladies and gentlemen, let's ponder that for a moment. Gee. See, this is why the Oxford English Dictionary should be stapled to people's heads. And that way, if anyone gets the definition wrong, they should be smashed with that definition.
Well, Antifa specifically, people think that Antifa is just an idea, as Biden said, right? They don't understand that. Antifa is real. And BLM, of course, is a domestic terrorist organization, and they're a Marxist organization, admittedly. So, and this lady is pictured. As far as I'm concerned, you want to talk about hate symbols? That's a hate symbol, guys. That is a black supremacist symbol. And she's down here talking about white supremacy, and she's also says she's a pastor. Yeah, well, I don't think so. You can say you're a pastor.
She's the same type of pastor that Sean King is.
You mean Malcolm X?
Yeah. The whitest black man I've ever met in my entire life. Except I haven't met him. Yeah. On that, see, this is why me as an Englishman has a giant urging hatred for America, because they love to butcher my language. And speaking of all this cultural appropriation, can I sue the United States for culturally appropriating my language? Can I legally do that? With all this cultural appropriation logic?
Well, how do you go back? Because you stole your language from Germans and French.
No. That's fake news. That's fake news, Bill.
Not.
No. It's not fake news. What happened was we were speaking French for like 200 years after the Normans came in, and then we went, "Screw you! We're going to invent our own language." Out of pure spite. We're like, no, fuck you. We ain't speaking French. You filthy colonizing invaders. We're going to invent our own language and kick you out.
But
which
English
we did.
is Germanic in structure, is what I'm saying. I mean,
no. English, when you compare it to all European languages, is completely different.
It's different, but it is far. It's trust me, man. I'm not. I'm very rusty, but I used to speak German. It has a very close. It has a similar structure.
I've learned German. Trust me, it's nothing like German for two specific reasons. Well, actually, one reason is common with Latin and Germanic languages. One being there's no masculine, feminine, and neutral. There is none of that crap for a start, and I'm surprised the leftists haven't been triggered by.
Well, we have that. When you conjugate, we have he, she, it. You know.
No. But like specifically masculine, feminine, neutral word terms in general. For verbs.
Towards objects, towards nouns and such.
Whereas
I know. Most languages have that, yes.
Whereas we don't.
Yeah.
And the other thing, and I know this is very true about German specifically, Germans put the verb at the end of the sentence. So if I were to translate directly from German to English, Bill is grey is shirt.
No, because if I said was machst du? Like, what do you do? What are you doing? Well, what do you do? What do you make? Like for a living? That's in the middle. Or like what's ups? Like was ist los?
I shirt is shorts. I shirt is schwarz.
You what? Your shorts?
No. My shirt is black. But in German, you meant to say schwarz shirt.
Yeah,
there's that stuff, but yeah, it's just ridiculous. I mean, this is why we need Kizzarism in the United States.
Kizzarism.
Yes, we need Kizzarism.
Well, look, man, you oh crap, I lost my train of thought there.
For a funny language point, Chinese has no verb conjugation. So if you're getting
wait, which one?
Mandarin.
That's fake Chinese. Get that fake Chinese out of here. I want real Chinese, damn it.
That's the Han's imperial
colonizing languages.
No, we have Cantonese. We are pro Cantonese here because that's the proper nation of the Chinese people.
That's when I grew up. Well, I mean, I didn't really speak it, but I had to when I was taking kung fu when I was a kid. I had to learn Cantonese because it was out of Hong Kong. Had to get away from that Mandarin nonsense.
Well, yeah, this is why Hong Kong's superior to China, and that's why Hong Kong, Taiwan need to have a coalition to take over China.
China.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think China's going to be taking over everywhere here soon.
Yeah. I mean, but then again, Australia kind of giving them a few blackouts. So who knows? It could just collapse on its own fat ass.
Well, I will know. I do know this. They've been preparing an obscene amount of infrastructure here in recent years, and building roads in very remote places that aren't well traveled, which makes me wonder if that's to help them mobilize their military to certain sectors of China and expand more, because they've taken this Cold War kind of approach where they're just buying resources up everywhere. And the deal with Australia is because China owned like a bunch of their hospital beds and whatever else, they had to go a little bit back and forth with them and their COVID response, as far as I understand, right? And now Australia is like, you keep screwing with us, we're going to screw back, So I haven't kept up with it that much, but that seemed to be the case to my mind.
Oh yes, I mean, I hate to do unnecessary shilling here, but AA did a brilliant video explaining the sheer amount of GDP, sheer amount of spending China's doing on infrastructure, and if my memory serves, they're spending almost around half their GDP purely on infrastructure spending.
Yeah, he did. I think back in the summer or the spring. I remember that. I haven't watched AA in a while. I keep needing to.
You should. He's a good.
Oh no, I love him. It just doesn't pop up, and I watch so much other stuff. I'm like, if something doesn't pop up, I kind of end up forgetting about it, and then I'll watch Yiz when I remember, and she'll mention AA, and I'm like, oh yeah, I got to watch AA, but.
Yeah. I mean, how he needs to get me on his show. Popular opinions. I've got many unpopular opinions, and I think the fans could be used to something different. I mean, I was on the stream with British Knight back in a few weeks back, and I was speaking to one of the guys who's one of his guests, and he won of our most entertaining guests, but he never got invited on again. But yes. So yes. Do my best AA impression. No. Back on topic.
I'm doing my best Tim Pool impression right now with his hat.
I didn't even realize. I didn't even pay attention, man.
I don't think Tim Pool's ever worn a freaking hoodie with West Ham United out in the show. I mean, how? I'll be gobsmacked if Tank here knows what the nickname of the West Ham United is.
The Hammers.
Oh, ding 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 ding! We have a winner. If he starts singing their freaking their song, and then I'm gonna be gobsmacked.
I'm forever blowing bubbles.
Okay, someone definitely watched Green Sheet.
Oh, I did, yeah. That's why I got into soccer actually when I was younger.
Yeah. That's a tame version of what happens in hooliganism back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Yeah, it's funny. There was an English guy moved to my city and opened up a soccer bar a couple years ago, and he played on like West Ham's second string or third string or something for a while, and he was saying the same thing. He's like, dude, and he's older. He was like, dude, yeah, it was rough back in the day. It got really rowdy.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was so bad the hooliganism in Europe with British teams. We actually got banned from competing in Europe for 6 years, and we almost got kicked out of World Cup 1990 because it was hosted by Italy.
Mm-hmm.
But
anyway, let me get back to what I was talking about before. So you were talking about Kizza. You were saying about these guys. It's become this secular religion. Yeah, okay, yeah. I can buy that. The other issue that I keep going back and forth on or trying to understand is, so these people don't like us. I think they've made it pretty obvious. So why don't they just let us leave? Like if someone was to stand up right now, a bunch of governors in, whatever southern states or wherever it is, and said, all right, this obviously isn't working out. Let's do this whole succession divorce thing. That's not going to fly. They're going to think that's that's fascism incarnate or whatever. I kind of don't understand where that mentality comes from. It's like you obviously don't like us. You don't want us in your country. Let's just split up. But it's like we're locked in an abusive relationship or something.
No, this whole thing, it's all about control. That's all it is. It's all about control. And if they saw states starting to succeed from the Union, then their power is ultimately reduced across the entire nation. And ultimately, they don't want that, because that would be considered treachery against the church. Oh, sorry, the cathedral, as it's known as, the cathedral.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably the best answer. I don't know. It's just, I feel like that's something we kind of need to put more in our spheres. If we're going to do some kind of, it's like Moldbug says, every single regime in the history of the world has said it was going to last forever, and none of them have. So the United States of America has a timer on it. That timer's probably running out. So what's the exit strategy? And I think it's something we probably need to talk. I mean, there's a lot of people Fed posting right now about, well, we all know what Fed posting is, so I'm not going to go into it. But I get the impulse.
Some people don't. You'd be surprised. But
wait. It's when you post pictures of the Federal Reserve, right?
Well, that's one way. That's one way to get it started, I guess.
or is it just federal buildings in general?
It's federal post-it notes.
Okay, let's see what the Urban Dictionary has to say on this. Let's see what Urban Dictionary has to say about this. That's the second best dictionary to go to.
But yeah, while you're looking that up, that's something I think we need. I think that'd be more productive. I think it'd be more productive to talk about how we're going to split up this country than to Fed post, I guess is the point I'm making here.
Oh wow. I am mightily confused about this definition. Apparently, the top definition, according to Urban Dictionary, is a Fed poster is an image board or forum poster who is most likely a federal agent. Originating from 4chan, poll board, and associated communities, the term refers to a poster who openly calls for violence against others or encourages one to break the law in some manner. The Fed part from Fed posting comes from the fact that these posts are either made by federal agents hoping to entrap someone into saying the same thing and getting visited by the feds for it, or by naive people saying the same things and end up being visited from the feds. Chances are, if somebody is talking about blowing up a religious building on poll, it's either a Fed poster or they're getting a visit from the feds real soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still haven't received my paycheck.
Is Fed posting the new swatting?
I mean, I would dare say this is. I would dare say that's political terrorism baiting.
Yeah. Oh well, it's like the definition they're using is kind of what happened with those guys that were going to kidnap that Whitmer chick or whoever. One of the guys ended up actually being a federal agent. I think is what happened. That he was like, "Hey guys, we should kidnap the governor," and they were like, "Yeah," but the guy who instigated the whole thing was a federal agent, and that's kind of what their definition is. There's also what I consider like your, I guess unironic Fed posters, and these are the guys that are just like, the very much the tree of liberty needs to be watered with the blood of traitors, and that sort of thing. And like I said, I get it. Me and Bill talk about this a lot, but it's not necessarily the most productive thing to be doing right now. Wait till you get some, wait till you actually build a military, then you talk like that.
Yeah. I mean, I do know someone. I remember speaking to someone who's a sniper in the British military, and he did say to me once, if he ever saw the crap he sees on Call of Duty, he would happily shoot the kids.
Oh my god!
Uh,
Yeah. He's referring to all the quick scopers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, I was hoping more people would join up after that great little burst of subscribers you got from Matt Christensen.
Yeah, it was good. Having him on was nice. We got to talk to him about what I wanted to talk to him was basically tech censorship and where it's going. But
we're quite literally in the Great Purge.
Yeah. He had a good time, but he's not really the guy to talk to about the more dissident stuff that we like to talk about. I think, and that's no slight against him. He does his thing. I think he does a good job. But ultimately, like the guys that are getting into YouTube now, they're going to be a lot more. I don't. Yiz made a good point about using the term normie, but I don't know what else to use right now, so I'm gonna use it. The less normie types.
The shape.
This isn't your mother, though, Tank. I mean, say what you want to say, dude. I mean,
it's all years gonna beat you with a ruler.
No, I'm saying she made a good point about using the term normie. Like it's people do want to be normal. Like it's not necessarily going to invoke the response that you want, but with us talking, I don't know what else to use.
I mean, it's funny you mentioned it, with all this purging. I was chatting with an anonymous group of people I like to chat with, and we were told about how to fix this problem. I mean, one anonymous friend said that they should amend 230 and fine them 15% of their profit in order to install a correction. Mine was by far the most brutal and said straight up, you implement my terms of service bill, and if they break the term, and if they break that bill, they get a $1 trillion fine on the spot. So that way you bankrupt Silicon Valley, and therefore everyone else will know their place. But I was told that was far too draconian, fascist, Mussolini, Hitler, freaking, and all types. And I'm just like, no. You see, you've got to be a referee in this case. Except you're the most cold-hearted, ruthless referee in the game of football. If someone tries diving, you straight send them off. And anyone who complains, you send them all off. So you send them all off. So that way the team loses by default.
Mm-hmm.
My game, my rules. Don't like it? Kindly leave. And also you're not allowed to do business with this nation ever again.
Yeah. Alex in the chat was mentioned earlier that he was in DC. Alex, if
he's just saying he heard the shot. I'm talking to him in the chat.
Yeah, if he knows what happened to the guys who reported dying of medical emergencies.
Oh, you naughty boy, Alex. You naughty boy.
That would be cool because I really don't know what that's supposed to mean.
Well, they, like I said, they probably had heart attacks or strokes or whatever else. I mean, that's a common thing. People die every day.
Yeah.
Work in a hospital, dude. See how many times you get someone coming in on some sort of critical thing, or how often you have to respond to a code or something where someone's just going into cardiac arrest or anything like that. Happens a lot. So I don't know the specifics about it. If Alex knows, it says one of them got punched off a 50-foot ledge. Okay, well that's not a medical emergency. That's assault. That's a
cop.
thing.
Oh,
yeah.
So that could be considered attempted murder.
It is. Well, it's irresponsible use of force at the very least. So it would be manslaughter. And you also have to understand, like, DC does not have a high threshold for hiring people for security, but it is super generally secure. I don't know. Alex says the others suffocated in tear gas, meaning they probably had a respiratory issue, asthma, or something like that.
So I mean, oof.
At least we're getting information. That's good. That's good. We appreciate that, brother. One had a heart attack. I knew about that one. And then they said another one was trampled, according to the New York Post that I brought up earlier. But again, I don't know. I didn't see anyone. They said trampled while they were stampeding the Capitol building, but I didn't see any video footage of it. People like rushing in like a concert or something like that, or running away from gunshot fire, or Black Friday sales. I didn't see any video of that.
I
would
mean,
say-
technically, right? They all died of COVID because that's how that works.
Yeah. They all died of COVID. But speaking of which, could you please, either you, Bill, or Tank, could you please just share the little meme I just posted to you, privately, DM wise?
Yeah,
I think everyone's got to see this meme.
I just heard that come up. Hold on,
Everyone's got to see this meme.
let me open the link here and do the screen share thing.
Yes. Please.
The
No spoilers. No spoilers.
I actually saw this one. I think I saved it. Yeah, BLM they get like one street renames and take down a few Foot Lockers. Wow. White people riot one day, Capitol under siege, police retreating, Senate evacuated. And have you seen the pictures, by the way, of the senators and whomever else, like cowering, like little stooges behind desks and whatever else? It's absolutely insane to me. Like I said, there was no, I don't know, Alex. Again, you were there. Did you see any weapons, man? Because the only if there was anything that was a weapon that I could see, it was like a flagpole, people waving Trump banners. I didn't see any firearms or anything like that. And DC is very strict about that. In fact, they had outlawed handguns for a long time. DC versus Keller was a big Supreme Court case many years ago saying you can't do that. And that was all because of again, that little part of DC over the Anacostia River that no one likes to talk about, where, you know, it makes it one of the top 10 murder capitals of the United States. So,
yeah, I mean, hell, if they really came for the big eye, I would expect them to be. I expect them more to be carrying around full autos, and I'm surprised of the lack of meme worthiness in terms of the whole scene, because I'd expected at least somebody going there with a portable speaker playing stuff like Raid on the Jedi Temple, or the Imperial March, or We've Been Engaged from Halo Reach, or the Rage of Sparta from God of War 3, or just or The Only Thing They Fear Is You from Doom Eternal. Just really emphasize the meme potential of this stuff. But this is why I need to be in charge. This is why Kizzarism needs to happen.
you know what I found most offensive, I think, with the coverage was they breached the hallowed sacred halls of the Capitol building. Like, you can take tours of the Capitol building, folks. There's no breaching the hallowed sacred halls, especially when the police let them folks in the back door.
In 2016, I took a very violent shit in the halls of the Capitol building, and it was fine. So I think it'll be okay.
Well, was it a full auto? Was it a full auto shit?
Yeah,
or was it
what's that really popular burger place right there in a train station in DC?
I don't know, Burger King.
No, it's like a
you talking about Grand Central Station, like the there's a burger place over there. I don't know. I could ask my wife, but
it's something. It's kind of like one of these hipster burger bar kind of things. Yeah, but I went there and it gave me the full auto shits, I guess you could say.
So would you say it was a fully assault shit?
It was a fully semi-auto assault shit. Yes.
Seems
it took you like, so you had to go every time you fired a lump of shit out.
Yeah, basically.
It seems like we're establishing a pattern here of talking about feces once again.
I mean,
look. I
would say.
Go ahead, Kizza.
Sorry. I'm just going to say to Alex in the chat, whoever played Metallica, they should have played No Remorse, not Unforgiven. That is perfect meme opportunity. But whoever that is, I will just forgive you, because in Kizzarism there is potential for forgiveness.
Well, anyways, back to what I was saying about the hallowed sacred halls, the inner sanctum, the most holy of holies. Chuck Schumer said this. You know, the media has been saying it. They've made it out, just like as you were saying before, Kizza, and of course you're not the only one. We talk about it. Lots of people talk about it. That the state has become a religion, and there's this religious fervor for these folks, and they basically just admitted, oh yes, us in the Congress and the Senate, we are the priest class who get to dictate to you folks, you plebes, how you should live your lives because we are the righteous ones who rule. And it's sickening to me. It's sick to me that Americans go along with this, that there's a large percentage of the country that go along with it. I like talk to a lefty and they'll be like, and they'll have reverence for certain people in Congress and Senate. Like you mentioned AOC. Oh, I love her. And I'm like, why do you love her? Like, she's an idiot. She's literally like a moron. She was a bartender, which is fine, but she was a bartender with an economics degree that she obviously learned nothing about, and never did anything in her life, and was cast into this position because she's kind of attractive, other than her big old horse teeth.
It's really funny you mention that, Bill, because it reminds me of a great clip, and I really hope we don't get screwed for copyright here. But I think the audience, I could sum up Joe Biden voters for the most part with one simple 30-second clip, which I'd like for you two to share to the audience. It's a great show. Please, if you can find this on DVD, please get it. Because I tried finding this on DVD. I got no freaking luck. Yeah. Just please play the clip and screen share for the folks.
Oh, I will. No, it's 30 seconds. There shouldn't be any issues with this.
I know YouTube's copyright thing. It seems to be very schizophrenic at times.
No, I would agree, but yeah. I like the Boondocks. I haven't watched it in a long time, but
yeah, I mean, where was Uncle Ruckus when you needed him? Where's Uncle Ruckus when you need him?
So hopefully a sound comes through, guys.
I'm voting for Obama because he's going to lower my taxes. Actually, he has promised to raise taxes at your income level. Huh?
And he's just really, really fit to lead, and also body fit too.
Well, I also support Obama because he's a great corporate balance. That is also not true, huh?
I'm supporting Obama because he's black.
That's right.
And he's going to get the troops out of Afghanistan, right? Also wrong. Then what the fuck that nigga going to do?
Banned.
I mean, on the whole, Obama's black. I think fact checkers will say that's debatable.
Yes, but that is why a large number of white folk voted for him. It was literally out of white guilt, which is absolutely absurd and disgusting. I have no idea why you would be guilty about something you had no participation in.
That's what I'm trying to...
Yeah, because I voted for Donald Trump because he orange, man. Gingers have souls.
Yeah. I mean, I spent many years working night shifts, so I don't have any pigment in my skin anymore. But when I do tan, I can be orange myself. So that's why I voted for Donald Trump as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, it does think here being orange is like a super minority. Like he's on par with the actual literal Smurf because the guy ate so much silver his skin turned blue. Not sure if you ever seen that guy. But there was a
quoted silver guy. Yeah,
him. He going blue. Maybe Donald should have done that. Just digest a load of colloidal silver so it become blue, and therefore he's a super minority.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to fly.
He would have turned into the Hawk fan, right?
I mean, hell. I'm just saying. He's blue, but he's also red. So yeah, I'm just saying. I mean, these days with intersectional and super minorities, I mean, being blue, he would be one of technically two of a kind, but only one running for president.
Or no, wait, yeah, I couldn't remember because I don't do this stuff anymore. No, that'd make him brown. So if he took colloided silver, he would have became black. So he'd have been all right because he's already orange and blue mix, and they make brown.
Good point. Yes. Exactly. He could have said he suffered from revigiligo. That's the opposite of what Michael Jackson.
You're a genius. You could have saved this whole presidency. If we can get this message to him, perhaps in 2024 he can pull it out again.
You see, this is why you need me in charge. This is why Kizzarism needs to happen, ladies and gentlemen. Repeat the whichever amendment says that non-natives can run. Repeal it so I can run. I mean, hell, it happened in the Demolition Man. Arnold Schwarzenegger became president.
Those were the better times.
Yeah, I know. It had a legendary English comedian as the Pope of the new city. His most famous work was from Yes Minister. Oh god, this is easy. This is just more reasons why I need to be in charge. Damn it, guys! You're giving me too much ammunition right now. I'm pretty much infinite ammo right now.
You know, well, I guess on a more serious note, what do we think?
Yes.
The next, not well, obviously the election just passed, but the next election, what do we? Because Joe Biden's going to be dead, right? Because he's 170 years old. So we're going to have Kamala as a president. I mean, do you think anyone's even going to trust the next election?
I mean, why would anyone trust this election after 2016 with Russiagate?
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's also ironic that the same people saying there was absolutely nothing dodgy about this election all said that Russiagate was definitely true, despite the Supreme Court throwing out the entire thing out of the court.
We can talk about Russiagate on in Russian collusion and election interference, but not any other election interference. Isn't that interesting? Even though it was disproven.
Yeah. I mean, Democrats can't complain about free and fair elections. I mean, WikiLeaks pointed out that they interfered with the 2012 French elections. So therefore, Holland or Hollandi, how do you say his name? Altering his French. Yeah, he was president at the time, so he should never have been allowed to run. So technically, the French 2012 elections should be rerun again. I don't care, Macron. Sorry, Macron. We already had proof that 2012 election was illegitimate, so therefore we got to rerun it, and therefore you can't run because you wasn't a candidate. So kindly F off, you filthy Goldman Sachs, filthy Goldman Sachs banker, and also your wife is going to jail because she is a child molester.
Well, the Senate had Dr. Robert Epstein several years ago come in and was saying that Facebook and Google and Twitter have the ability to pretty much swing the election by a minimum of something like 10 million to 20 million votes based on how they censor. And he was saying it could be a lot more depending on how active they want to be about it. And that's what all the censorship is right now that we're seeing, all these people who are being purged. I mean, I would say that if we were not so small to fly under the radar, we would probably have been part of this purge. But people that have bigger movements, people that have followings, they're just getting thrown under the bus. And people that I think, like I said, the walk away movement, which had some power, they had a lot of organization, they had a lot of rallies, they had a lot of people. Hell, I think Brandon Strzok had several times. He had MLK's some of his children or ancestor, niece, nephew, I don't even remember what it was, on stage with him talking about things, talking about getting rid of the whole idea of white privilege and racial, just racial nonsense, like racial special. You get special rules. You get to be treated like a child because you're black, and you don't have any consequences. That kind of stuff,
Yeah. I mean, it makes me laugh when somebody used the term white privilege in front of me, and I said, "Well, you're an Asian, so therefore I could have Asian privilege because I can then do many horrible things to thousands of white kids and get and be protected by the police and the Labour Party." But that's hate speech.
I brought up this screen share here because of you just talking about how much Google and whatnot can affect our elections. And this movie actually came out in 2018. Michael Malice had these guys on his show at one point, and they just basically laid out how ridiculous, how much power these social media companies have over our democracy. Now, this kind of goes into the point that I make a lot of. Democracy is a farce, right? It's never going to work the way you want it to, or the way it says it's going to. So,
I mean, I've had this argument with people in anonymous groups, and I dare argue. I hate to use this term, but real democracy has never been tried.
Well, it's the best worst form of government we have, because there's really no good form of government
I would counter that with Kizzarism.
Okay. The Lord Emperor Kizza.
Well, you see, Kizzarism is like Rule 34, okay? Well, the Batman version of Rule 34. If it exists, there's a plan for it. And then, but the counter that there is Rule 35. If it doesn't exist, just wait a while, and there will be a plan.
I just want to.
I would think, man, we're gonna keep doing this. Go ahead, Kizza.
Just remember, Batman. He could deal with any problem if you give him enough time to plan.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I think that's one of the issues that we have too. Is that they're obviously making these big giant bills. They're slow to do anything. They pass a bunch of like stupid spending all the time on the federal level, and they're quick to run to an impeachment to get an impeachment done within 8 days. I mean, so today's the 9th, or 10 days or whatever it is that we have left. But yeah, no, it'll be 8 days, right? Monday. So, or 7 days, whatever, like, or 9 days. I mean, obviously I'm not mathing very well right now. In any case, what, in what capacity can they run an impeachment through that quickly when the last one took forever, when they had to argue for months and months and months over stimulus, and they could finally, after the election, come up with $600 and billions of dollars for other nations that had nothing to do with us. It's like they're motivated when they want to be motivated, and it's always political, and it's always narrative, and it's never actual governance. Right? It's never anything to do with America, like anything good, at least.
Well, it's funny you mention that, because a certain a former YouTuber who got purged, big old SM, I'm sure you two know exactly who I'm talking about. He made the perfect video explaining this, that basically when it comes to government, if they want something, they will do it. They will pass legislation very, very quickly. However, if it's something they don't want, they will deliberately drag their heels and take forever time, for years upon years upon years. And when they do implement legislation, it'll be so poorly written that it would not do what it's meant to do.
Yeah, and I haven't watched. I'm not a huge fan of him, anyways, but I haven't watched Molyneux in a long time. But because he's obviously not on YouTube, but the dude was on YouTube for like 12 years or something crazy too when they purged him.
Oh, he's one of the OG. Oh yeah, he was one of the OG.
Yeah, I mean,
one of the OG YouTube. Well, in terms of
there's no reason. I mean, the guy he's a pacifist. He never calls for violence. He points out certain things, certain realities, but a lot of what he was doing in the last few years was like talking to people and trying to help them fix their problems and stuff. Aside from his political commentary. So,
yeah, I mean, he did have a few off takes or a few wild takes, but at least with a few subjects, he'll admit he was wrong. Whether it be about the subject of Brexit or US politics, or I know there was another one. I can't remember, but like
I was annoyed with him. I followed him years ago, and I quit following him because he was talking about when Ron Paul was running for president in 2012. He was like, well, if Ron Paul gets to be the president, all this is going to happen. And it's like, dude, stop being so hyperbolic. Ron Paul said specifically what he was going to do. And he was going to he wanted to cut, I think, $1 trillion out of the budget or something, which seemed crazy, but really it wouldn't hurt us in the United States. The first time he ran in 2008, he has actually ran before that, but when he ran in 2008, he wanted to bring the budget back to 1997. And he's like, was 1997 really that bad? Can we just bring the federal budget back, roll it back 10 years? And
I know he was the biggest advocating for the end of war on drugs. I mean, how he was the quote-unquote hipster of ending the war on drugs.
And also auditing the Fed.
Especially the Fed. Yep, the Fed.
Yeah, and of course his son's in the Senate now and does a pretty good job for the most part. But they used to call Ron Dr. No because he wouldn't sign things. He wouldn't be a part of it. And then he would make speeches on the House floor and stuff, and they'd be like, well, we appreciate your old school constitutional view, but we just don't do things like that anymore. But if you read what Ron Paul wrote, if you read things like speeches of his on the House floor, if you read his books, his campaign book, The Revolution back in 2008, he wasn't trying to dismantle the government. He knew it was going to take 100 years to roll things back. But Stefan Molyneux went like, "Oh, this will happen. This is what's going to happen if you vote in Ron Paul," and that kind of stuff really annoyed me because you would think that he would have been an ally of Ron Paul's, given that he basically has the same political philosophies. But whatever.
I mean, sometimes he did seem to have very contradictive takes. Because unless I misremember this, I swear he was basically a functioning anarchist.
Right. And I've also seen him though too. This was I saw this from this channel called it's Diana Davidson, I believe, and she's like a honey badger. So she's like a men's rights, anti-feminist kind of person. I don't even know. I haven't watched her channel in forever, but she was bringing up Stefan Molyneux and how sometimes he bullies people that he has on. Now, I haven't seen him do this in a long time, but I did see him do this in a few clips and a few of his call-in shows where he was just kind of like, "Why are you coming at me with all this aggression? Why are you doing this?" And basically gaslighting the person. So I didn't like that. Now, in the last few years since Trump, he's kind of, started changing. He was working with Lauren Southern and all that stuff.
I remember their band tour of Australia and New Zealand. That was funny. I mean, it's quite funny because it was quite literally when you heard them interview, it was like as if it was a dad and his daughter campaigning.
Right.
I mean, they had the age profile to be dad and daughter, quite literally. I mean, honestly, there's actually quite a lot of honestly, I don't think there's ever been anyone in the world of political YouTube who I haven't wanted to slap around the back of the head for their bad takes.
Well, I mean, none of us are perfect. We're all going to have bad takes, but
except Kizzarism, Kizzarism,
right.
everything.
But again, to me, it's like we don't have to always agree.
Sorry. Alex made a great point. Girl Rights What, aka Karen
Strong.
I like Karen Strong.
Yeah. She's lovely. Yes. I know she went quiet for like an entire year and made the greatest clickbait video in all of 2020. She made the brilliant clickbait video.
What was that?
And I
didn't know she came back.
She made one video like a month or so ago, and it's called "Why Donald Trump Deserved to Lose."
Ooh.
It's a brilliant clickbait video.
Okay.
And I did post that to a few groups I'm in, and they hated it because of how clickbait it was, and they couldn't ultimately argue with it.
So what was her point?
Basically, they say Donald Trump has actually pushed a legislation to protect LGBTQ members is a homophobe. The guy with the highest minority turnout for a Republican is a racist.
Mm-hmm.
The guy who has literal anti-Jewish children-in-law whose daughter converted to Judaism so she could marry the man she wanted is an anti-Semite.
So wait, she was saying this, or
no? She was using evidence that what the left sided against Trump and utterly disproving it.
Oh, I see. Okay. I mean, she did the same sort of stuff with like all of her. She was like at a men's rights thing, and she was saying a lot of things about how these guys aren't actually misogynists. They just, I mean, from what I remember of her, I didn't watch her a whole lot, but I did see her on. She was on that movie, right, with the red pill with
the red
before
pill
that became a 4chan thing. Yeah.
But what's funny is actually the lady in question, Cassie
J.
Yes, Cassie J. Right? She did a little TED talk on this.
Mm-hmm.
And you're gonna laugh what the conclusion was of her TED talk.
What's that?
The thing she had to ultimately overcome was herself.
Oh yeah. Well,
but because as she admitted, she was not listening; she was anticipating. So when I heard a man say, "Oh, man, there are over 2,000 women's shelters in all of America. There is only one male shelter," she'd respond with, "Well, that's because women are majority of the victims of domestic violence." So,
Right. Which
like,
was
when does this
wrong, right? Or
well,
pretty.
well, it depends on where you're talking about. Because if last I checked, Australia, women are more likely to be the perpetrators.
Mm.
I think there was a lady speaking about this on Australian morning television. I think it was in 2005 or 2006. I'm sure somebody will know which clip I'm talking about, where she spoke about boys and girls, and she asked the boys had they ever hit a girl, and they said 6% said yes, but 0%, but none of them used a weapon. When it came to the girls, 1/3 of them admitted that they had, and 1/6 of them used a weapon.
Okay.
But we're all about equality, ladies and gentlemen. We're all about equality. And with Kizzarism, I will give exactly absolute, undisputed, indiscriminatory equality. And you're all going to love it.
I say we all Connery him. Let's give him a good old slap.
I just want to live in a world where everyone dresses like Tim Pool.
Oh, do you really want that? I mean, everyone's going to think you're all a bunch of two old freaking skaters. You're still living off the Tony Hawk era.
I think that Tim started wearing blue instead of black all the time, so he wouldn't be identified as Antifa, and now he's been wearing purple and other colors. It's amazing.
Listen. I'm all for wearing black, but because black's just a good color. But I think Tim, since he's somewhat taken a red pill, he should just dress in all red just to really emphasize that. And screw you, phone. Be like how they did it on the Power Rangers. Whatever color you were wearing, you knew which Ranger they were. Oh, look, Tim is now officially the Red Ranger now. He's decided to stop being the Black Ranger and the Blue Ranger. He's going to be the Red Ranger.
No, he's going to be the Yellow Ranger, right? Black Ranger's going to be black guy. Tim's half Asian, so.
Oh yeah, the Power Rangers were pretty racially stereotypical in their color choices.
Yeah, in the 90s, no one cared about the stupid stuff they care about now. They don't care about
and what's even funny?
In the early 2000s either.
I mean, you know what's really funny? Back then when they were making it, they didn't actually realize till 10 or 12 episodes in, and even then the actor and actress in question didn't actually care.
Well, no.
And that's what's funny. But then when he did a little recasting, they made sure the Yellow Ranger was black and the Black Ranger was Asian.
Hey, well, hold on. Let me. I turned on dark mode here, and I can't get the thing. I wanted to share this real quick because you were talking about Trump and why he. What was it? You said the video, like why he shouldn't be the president or whatever it was.
Yeah. Why Donald Trump deserved to lose? Like Karen. Yeah.
So
I think you should share it. Yeah.
This is really important. This is from Newsmax, but I found this article before. I have several articles up, actually, but I was looking at this. This is George W. Bush from the start of his administration in 2001 to the end of his administration, in 2009, the median household income rose by $402 over 8 years.
Yeah.
And then it says over 96 months, 4.9 per month over Bush's 8 years. And then it goes into the Obama years from 2009 all the way up, and it's another $335. So I've been talking about this lately on -1, but I guess I've been misquoting it because I thought it was like 200 some odd bucks, but no, it rose by 300 some odd dollars.
No, it dropped. It dropped. Didn't raise.
Right. Okay. And then that's 16 years. Yeah, the middle average household income rose by $67.
Oh yeah, that's
over
so much money.
18 years. And then here under Trump, we have a $5,000 raise for the average household income.
Yeah. It's almost like Orange Man is good for the economy. I mean, hell, if it was Kizzarism, that would have gone up by at least $10,000.
So here in this article, this is National Review, so take it with a grain of salt. But here, I guess I'll leave it like this. But it's talking about the Gini coefficient. So if you aren't aware, folks, what the Gini coefficient is, that is the distribution of income, and it's on a scale of 1. So 0.4 is about where things, when they start to get above that, you start to get instability. And basically, 1 is that all of the wealth is collected into a very small minority. And so this is the distribution of wealth. And this article is trying to say that it's gone up under Trump, but it's literally ticked up like a fraction of a percentage, and it was already up here under Obama. So it's just ticked up just a little bit more. And I don't think it's that big of a deal if everyone in the lower class is coming up with it. So I just wanted to bring those 2 points up because that was really the biggest thing that Trump was doing for us. And we're about to hit a hardcore recession. They cannot do the things that they keep doing, like the printing of 60% of all income that has ever, or all money that has ever been printed since the end of Bretton Woods, and pumping into the economy, or keeping businesses locked down, allowing mom and pop stores to shut down, or the Great Reset with this stakeholder capitalism, where only the people who are involved in the corporations get to say anything. They're the ones who get to rule the world. And it's really interesting that we're coming this people on the left complain about corporatism and all that all the time, and how the corporate entities, yet they vote in Beijing Biden, who is just all about that kind of stuff, right? Has a long record of it, 40-year history of it.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me laugh how back in '88 he had to directly rip off Neil Kinnock. I mean, that is pretty pathetic. When
He's ripped off more than him, but yeah.
Oh well, he was notorious, and all of American media at the time ripped him apart back then. They ripped him apart for his blatant copying of Neil Kinnock's freaking political campaign, especially his speeches.
Right, but then you have all these low information voters who have no clue about that. They have no idea whatsoever. And the national media used to cover stuff like that back in the day. They used to be a little bit more even-handed, a little bit more fair. It's since the rise of CNN, and I'm not blaming them alone, but since Ted Turner created CNN and that 24-hour news cycle, and they had to find things to spin up news, and then you get Fox News and MSN and all those, they've gone from being, let's do some basic objective reporting, to just like, how can we get people stirred up, and how can we fearmonger? And of course, the CIA has a lot of their hands in and have for decades in the media. Like, do you not find it ironic that MSNBC and CNN had all these former FBI agents and intel folks come on their show all the time and talk about how evil Trump was? And it's like, folks, you realize when the people on the right, or the dissidents, whatever you want to call them, people like us who talk about the deep state, that's the deep state you're listening to. They're giving you the propaganda. They're feeding you the bullshit. Yeah.
They're merely the advertising board and the HR department of the establishment.
Right.
And speaking of someone who's had to put my HR department of my work, the boss of it, over a table over contract laws, let's just say they're not necessarily the brightest people.
Here's what I found.
Fuck you, phone. see, that's my phone trying to shut me up right there.
Oh my god!
I found.
I'm gonna Kaczynski post.
MI6 is coming after you, man.
Don't you mean MI5?
Well, whatever. MI5, MI6 is the Bond.
That's the international version.
Yeah,
that's the international aspect, not the national one. I mean, hell, they share the same building, and hey, we've already had a bomb in there before, and I mean, they're pretty bad at their job. I mean, it's so bad the Russians managed to kill somebody, and MI5 couldn't stop it.
I've heard Scotland Yard's gone pretty sideways too, as far as their policing.
Well, but they have literally a shaved Wookiee. Right?
They have a what? A shaved Wookiee?
And that's not a joke, by the way.
I didn't hear all that.
Just look up a picture of Chewbacca and Nicholas. Sorry. Just there's a meme picture for it. Look up Chewbacca, then compare it to the head of the SMP, Nicholas Sturgeon, and it's not joking you. It's quite literally a shaved Wookiee. And it's actually what's it called? Like a Gillette women's razor ad underneath it.
What's his last name? Or her last name?
Nicholas Sturgeon.
Sturgeon?
Yeah, like
Sturgeon.
surgeon, but
Sturgeon.
yeah. The First Lady, as she's known as. You might. I'm not sure if you can find the meme on Google, but where's the dank? Where's the dank when you need him?
Yeah, it's just a picture of her. I see. You know, I've seen her before. I
Yeah.
don't obviously pay attention
She's
to.
yeah, but she's a complete idiot. I mean, honestly, if Kizzarism was involved, I'd love to just mock her completely and throw a dictionary at her head for every time she misuses my language.
Type in meme here, see if I can get
mean,
it. Aha! Well, that's a good one too. Good lord!
Found it?
I found a few, but yeah, we'll I'll just bring it up real quick.
Yeah, I think you should share it. Share it. Yeah.
Yeah, hold on. There's one, but here's the other.
See.
Let me just get this pure, nice and. But I like this one too. This is pretty.
See, the ends justify the memes. And that is Ed Miliband, ladies and gentlemen. That was Ed Miliband, the former leader of the Labour Party.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't follow UK politics really. We have enough going on over here in the United States, but I do try and keep aware of like just general trends and like policing and stuff like that, especially with you all and the Muzzy gang grooming gang issue.
Oh yeah, but it's just a joke. I mean, there's plenty of content creators. I mean, hell, we got a problem's already made like 5 videos in the past 2 days on the sorry state of my island. But this is why Kizzarism needs to come in charge, because all these issues will be eventually erased, and then we can have a quote unquote great reset of my island.
Yeah, I'd like a great reset too. A little bit of a reactionary one. Let's go back to the 1950s. I actually don't like the 1950s. I'd like to go back to the 1920s personally, but very
yeah, but what about an alternative? But here's the thing. Here's the thing, guys. What if we have 2077, but it's good? How does that sound?
Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, but it's good.
But with less bugs.
Yes.
Yeah, less bugs. Yeah.
Yes,
less glitches.
Yes.
Well, Tank might not like that though, because he doesn't like all the tech stuff, and I'm not really a fan of transhumanism either.
Oh no, who said anything about transhumanism?
Well,
I mean, if you get rid of all the bugs, aka the parasites, aka the communists, you just get rid of them, right? You get rid of the globalists, you get rid of the traitors, you get rid of the sandcrackers and all those people.
You should put some posting alerts up there.
Oh yeah, I forgot I had those.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
You get my deal. You get my deal from the from the European Union with my new Brexit negotiation. There's that, and then I can start my great reset.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing about the terminology of this reset terminology. These guys aren't actually wanting to reset anything, right? They're wanting to progress. Like, reset is you start over at an earlier point, and no one's wanting to go backwards. Yeah, and that's kind of what I would like to do. I would like to, and I'm not talking about 1950s. Like I'm talking about a different mode of government than we've had. Throughout democracy. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, sometimes in order to go forwards, you sometimes have to go backwards. Because as I explain to people, it's better to go backwards in the right direction than go forwards in the wrong direction.
Well, and I think that as far as the World Economic Forum goes and Klaus Schwab and all that, it's very obvious that this is just part of the UN's agendas, but they're letting them lead it. It's like this new thing that they're allowing to be led, because the UN works through nations, but what the World Economic Forum is doing is recruiting essentially corporations, and it's just corporation after corporation after corporation. And so when you have someone like the CEO of BP or whatever, oil company, if you would, talking about, we got to do this for the changing climate and the environmental disaster that's coming. It's like, dude, you're not going to stop producing oil. We're not going to get off fossil fuels. It's not happening. You're doing this so you can maintain your power. And all these people are. And then they have the world leaders, or whatever it's called, the young world leaders, which aren't necessarily
the party of Davos.
Yeah,
I mean, it made me laugh. It made me laugh to interrupt. The advertising bit, they said, oh, there's more trade unions in here than bankers. Yet there was not a single trade unionist group in there, because to be a member of the party, you got to cough up 600,000 Swiss francs every single year.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It is all these people, and so it seems to be we're looking at obviously the way everything's set up as far as these globalists, how they work. They work within the framework of a Hegelian dialectic, right? They give a problem, reaction, solution, and the solutions like meet in the middle. So we've had this corporatism growing and growing in the United States, all around the world with globalism, and what they're going to do is they're just going to say, well, we're going to have this, and we're essentially, for the sake of the environment, this seems to be what's going on. We're going to just get rid of all the mom and pop stores because they can't be environmentally responsible. But us big companies, we have the money. So it's just a matter of, it's literally like rent seeking. It's a matter of economic protectionism. It's a matter of eliminating competition. When I was arguing with the commies the other day on Twitter, they were like, oh, no, that capitalists always seek to eliminate the competition. I'm like, no, that's called Marxism. You eliminate the competition when you allow the government to take over the production, the means of production, and all of everything in your life, all the businesses, via Marxism, via communism. That is elimination of competition. Capitalism or free markets encourage competition because that's how you get better products, cheaper prices, innovation, all those things. And also you can't get your head around that.
And also the big thing that the communists love to claim to preach about: better wages and better employment benefits.
Which doesn't happen because they just inflate the currency and everyone becomes poor. And they don't understand either. That they just create a two-tiered system. They talk about and complain about the bourgeoisie, but what really happens is those who have power, those who are in the government, those who are the party members, or who run the corporations, they're the ones who end up being rich, and everyone else just has this like mediocre standard of living. We can see this in China very clearly. We see it in North Korea very clearly. It happened in Russia. You get your oligarchies. It happened in the Ukraine, and it still sort of exists there.
Just tons of ugly architecture.
Right. Look at what happened in Cuba. That's exactly what we got. We got it in Venezuela. You have an upper class, an elite ruling class, and everyone else is poor and starving.
I mean, it makes me laugh how certain people try praising Cuba as an ideal model. I was like, oh, really? Do you want to earn $25 a month? Like, what? Like, that's the average wage of the average Cuban. He's like, no, you're lying. I'm like, fact checked, mother trucker. $25 a month average. Do you want to do that? Yeah, that sounds great. Right. Do you want to roll around in barely stock 1950s American motors with Lada engines in them?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I didn't think so. Oh, what's that? You want high-speed internet? Yeah, that barely exists. Oh, what's that? You want a TV? Yeah, maybe you have one TV in your entire village. Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds really great.
I've seen a lot of internet commies on Twitter and stuff talk about Cuba, how great Cuba is, and I'm like, bro, you can get a flight to Cuba from Florida for like $150. If you live anywhere else in the continental United States, you can probably get a bus ticket to Florida for another $90. For less than $400, you could live in your communist utopia, and yet here you are bitching in New York City about how great Cuba is. Like, bro, just go. Like, just do it. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I spent a whole vacation in Nicaragua for like $400. Like you can do it.
Yeah. I mean, I know of a guy on a certain group. I know in a certain group I hang on with who used to say how great Cuba was. So I was like, okay, then why don't I leave there if it's clearly your state? And he's like, yo, pay me to leave. Like, bitch, you're richer than me. You should be paying me to come to get citizenship in the United States. He's like, no, you got to pay me so I can reside my citizenship. Like, how much is it? It's like $1,800. Like, bitch, you live in California.
Yeah,
like you got $1,800 lying around to do that.
You could just skip rent. These guys are always talking about killing landlords anyway. It's like you can just skip rent, and you could use that money to go to Cuba, and you'd be fine.
Exactly. I mean, that's the whole thing that makes me laugh. It's like you could leave, you just don't want to because you know full well it's an inferior state.
The last notification I saw on my Twitter, like after I pulled down the screen share or whatever, because I don't really care. I don't necessarily look at it unless I feel like engaging. It was like your spelling is atrocious. I'm thinking, okay, what about my arguments? Like, who cares? I literally been up all night. It was like 9 a.m. before I fell asleep, and I got up a few hours later, and I'm like laying in bed. I'm just like trash talking.
Yeah,
I told the one guy, I said, I remember when Plato's Republic came out, and when it first came out, I read the first edition of it 2,000 years ago, and all of a sudden this guy came around named Marx, and he had all these seemingly great ideas. He was the bee's knees, and I'm like, tweeting this, and I'm like, and I said, all of a sudden, all these nations decided to bring in their utopias, and they had to murder and starve out a bunch of people to do it. And it was like a two-part tweet, but I was basically after that, I was like, it's funny because you guys always constantly talk about theories, but your theories are constantly proven wrong. And I seem to remember that for the last 2,000 years, they've never worked out. And my whole point to all that is, of course, I'm being completely facetious, but my whole point is that this isn't new. Marx didn't just come up with this idea. Like Marx just explained something that was completely wrong. His economics were completely wrong, have been disproven 1,000%. And the only way to implement his utopia is through force. And the only way to maintain it is through force. And this has to be, for some reason, the Marxists think that, once we give the government all this power, it's just going to all of a sudden dissolve one day. And it's like, do you understand human nature and the nature of power? Because your postmodernist architecture, which neo-Marxism is a part of, seems to believe that everything is power. So why would you think that the power would be given up?
Yeah, but I mean, how as I tried to explain to this frankly deluded Californian, as I called him, if Marxism was a scientific theory, it'll have the same credibility as the flat Earth and cold fusion.
Right. Tanks like.
The thing about this, it is why I don't argue with these guys. There are some smart leftists out there, and I'll give them credit when here and there.
Oh, no, that's an oxymoron. They're intellectuals. They're not smart. They're intellectuals.
That's a good point, Kizza. Very good point.
No, I mean, I've talked to some leftists that I feel like we could find common ground on. So maybe not smart, but not retarded Twitter tankies is basically what there are other types of leftists. But I forgot where I was going with this. Oh, here it is. So these guys, the reason why I don't argue with them anymore, because I realized that these guys on Reddit, like these Reddit commies and these Twitter tankies and guys, their entire outlook is based on, I want this revolution to come because I have no meaning in my life, and I'm going to be part of the party who gets a cool corner office, once all the dust is settled. Of course, that's not going to happen. They're going to keep playing Cyberpunk in their room like everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I remember somebody making there's actually a good Romanian friend of mine, and no, it's not V, but I do call him Baby V. He makes a good point that if you got rid of every single person. Oh, hello, can you guys hear me? Hello.
Yeah, we got
it froze on me there. So yeah, if you got rid of every single person who had a gender studies degrees, we would see next to no difference. Actually, we would see one small difference: less people and less debt. But if you got rid of all the actual working class people, electricians, plumbers, bricklayers, etc. Your entire civilization is destroyed like that. But
you have to have people who are willing to do actual work and labor. We worship the intellect way too much. In fact, that's why I brought up the point before. In fact, I think we've talked about it when you've been on one of these streams a few Saturdays ago. It's Gnosticism. It's like ancient Gnosticism. We're worshiping the idea of the intellect and secret special knowledge, and somehow that makes you a more righteous person. And again, this goes back to Plato's Republic. Of course, these ideas have been around even before then, but as far as a written account in the West, this is kind of what Plato was laying out, that you become moral by intellectual feats, by intellectual endeavors, and that's not true at all. By the way, I put in the private chat there a link to a book called Intellectual Morons: How Ideologies Make Smart People's Fall for Stupid Ideas. It's a pretty decent little read. But that's exactly what we have. We have people pontificating and philosophizing about all kinds of things and trying to make it overcomplicated, as the postmodernists do. Someone like Eric Michael Dyson that just says a word salad of nothingness, and that word salad of nothingness is to a dumb person is like, oh wow, he's so smart, he used all these big words. And I'm like, what did you even say? You said nothing. You said absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I mean, to quote the great man Orwell, my God, I would build quite a few statues of the great man. There are some ideas so unbelievably stupid that it takes an intellectual to believe them. I mean, case in point, gender being a social construct, where the person in question admitted that it was a complete and utter lie, and queer theory. I mean, how can you have a theory of a derogative term to calling somebody a homosexual?
Right.
I mean, that's literally what the term is, but now it's its own separate category. I think whoever in America has come up with that, I think they need a little English education lessons. I mean, I think this is why Kizza has to come in charge, because I'm going to have to educate so many of the American masses to teach them to speak and listen to the Queen's English. I mean, you guys are exceptions, of course, because you actually do speak the Queen's English.
Well, not with a nice English accent, which you get to hold.
Who cares about the accent?
Well, it's interesting because from what I understand, I've never been, but if you go to Australia, I was always told when I was in the Marine Corps that the women there tend to like the Marines and they like our accent, whatever our American accent. Of course, there's all kinds of different accents throughout America.
I'll tell you right. I know full well, just speaking to any American or Canadian woman, they seem to love the English accent. I mean, I sound like C-3PO's miserable cousin.
Well,
as I like to say,
it's it all depends. I mean, I think there's a thing with accents for some reason that even in the U.S., like a lady with it's kind of disappearing, but with the Southern accent, the old Southern Belle kind of accent's very something very attractive about that. Tank, you're making a weird face. Are you just reading?
Yeah, I'm just reading. Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think about the old kind of Southern Belle accent? Like,
my dad. It's really weird. My dad kind of has this, what you think of as like the Savannah, Georgia genteel accent, and I don't know where he gets it from because he doesn't live in that area. But I mean, I love it. But there's so few people left with that.
Yeah, I know.
That like you're saying, like I love to hear it. Now it doesn't sound as sexy on my dad as it does on like an actual like debutante young lady, but yeah, like I love it.
Are you saying it's the type of Southern accent that makes people want to have a bit of that Southern hospitality?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
I can recall I was probably about 20 or so. I was in the Marine Corps, and I had a buddy of mine had a friend of his from high school or something. I don't know. There was something there where he was trying to get with her and she'd visited or whatever, but she was like jumping all over me. Cause we went to like a house party and when we were in the barracks, she like jumped on me, and I was kind of not trying to be that guy to like steal this girl he was after. Cause I've done that before, and not necessarily purposefully, but not trying to be that guy all the time. And, but she was from like parts of North Carolina where that accent still exists, and it was a very cute, young lady, and it was quite charming. I often wonder if I had pursued how those things would have went. But well, it was funny too because my buddy was a big tall guy, and he'd always wrestle with me, and I'd always like basically arm bar him or choke him out or something. But because he was like, he's one of those guys. He was tall, and he's like, I lift weights. I'm like, and I'm not a big guy, and it's like, yeah, you can do what you want. I got skill, bud.
All right, well, that's probably a good place to call it. We're at 5:00 here on Eastern Standard.
Yeah, all because we were late.
Well,
my fault, guys. I have no idea why my computer switched the sound output, and
it was the Chinese virus altering your sound card. That's what it was.
It could be the algorithm. The algorithm jumped into my computer and changed things for me.
No! I'll tell you what happened. Your mic transitioned to be a speaker. That's what it was.
That is actually what happened. I had to check my settings, and that's exactly what happened. It wanted to be. I have a Rode, and it was like I'm pretty sure it wasn't my camera. But
so is this what we call intertectionism?
Intertectionism?
Yeah. Instead of intersectional with people, we have intertextionalism for technology. Oh lord! Somebody's going to nick that idea. Copyright. I claim that pattern.
You gotta be careful, Kizza. You gotta stop putting your stuff out there without first, getting it written down or whatever. Because eventually, one day, someone's going to say, "Hey, I came up with this idea," and there's going to be arguments. Then you're going to be in court, and they'll have stolen your idea.
Hey! I already have YouTube videos with my freaking super chats with reference to the plan. So therefore, unless they find something that predates those streams, they can go fuck themselves.
So, guys, are we going to be able to do this again next week? Is that
next Saturday? Yeah, next Saturday I'm good, but like the Monday after that, I'm back to work. Sadly.
Okay, so next week will have to be like the last one for a while.
Well, I got to go back to work sadly because because apparently I'll be a quote unquote key worker. But hey, who knows? Maybe I'll get the so-called the super coof, and I could be off for like 14 days while still being paid for it.
Okay.
Because I could just abuse the current updated terms and be like, hey, if you dare fire me for getting the super coof, I will sue you.
Well, I am looking now because I have to check my UFC schedule. There have been no fights, and there's a big fight coming up, and they seem to be early. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to, unless you guys want to stream really early in the morning, or early in the morning for Tank and I, because I would like, it's like the one thing that I do anymore. I'm home all the time otherwise. So
I mean, but just remember, guys, if you need something fixed, this is why KizzaIsm needs to be in charge. This is why you need KizzaIsm.
Yeah.
Any problem you got, I got a plan to fix it. Regardless of how small or outrageously big it is.
We can talk about it off stream. We can communicate obviously through Discord or whatever. And we'll figure it out if we do one next week or not. Also, obviously we'll have you back on, Kizza, because we enjoy your company. But we understand you gotta work. Not everyone can be like me and be unemployed.
Well, I mean, technically, last year was great because I earned basically almost as much as I did the year before, but I only worked about at most 2/3 of what I was meant to work. So technically, I made more money per capita for working hours than I ever have done in my working life. So yes, well done to the coof for making me make more money than I actually needed to, than I made in terms of working.
Yeah, well, one thing I can do is in the spring, well, not even spring, I think it's March, I can apply to finish my my program for physical therapy, and if they're allowing, the hands-on training, because that's the reason, it's the big thing right now I'm concerned with. It's like, oh, if you're going to close down things and kick us out, like, what's the point? At the same time, I also don't want to be in classes and have to do physical manipulations and wear masks all the time. So I kind of feel like I just need to keep making content. I don't know, but that's a discussion with my wife and I. Hey, Tank, you got anything? No fans only. That's
No,
done.
I had to delete my OnlyFans because no one wanted to look at pictures of my butthole. So sorry, guys.
I have a meme that Trump's getting on there since he's banned from everywhere else.
Well. Funny at the ban. From what I heard, Twitter's stocks went down by 4%.
Yeah, they'll continue to drop because all they do is keep crazy leftists on there, and
But I will say before we go, can we please play the Venezuelan inflation meme, please, and please play with the music.
What do you have it on hand? I don't.
I'll grab it for you just quickly. It's one of my favorite videos. Hold on. Venezuela inflation meme. Here we go. Yes, here we go. Right, just right here. Yeah, make sure you before you start to put the volume down quite low because the music's quite loud. But if you know your memes, you will know exactly where this is from. Okay, send it in the private chat.
Give me one.
Whoa!
Oh no!
Yeah. What's up?
Are you bringing it up, Tank?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up. Let me.
Okay. Yeah. And this, ladies and gentlemen, what we're about to show you is why printing. This is why you need Kizzarism, because quantitative easing / printing of money will be abolished under my leadership. Okay, you got it up. Play with me. I can't hear the music.
Yeah, you don't have any sound coming.
Oh, well, then it's not going to work for me because I'm only using Brave.
Well, here, I'll pull it up.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
I just had it up, but
yeah. No, I don't. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Also, it's a great music genre. People should listen to it more often to be different.
All right.
Here we go. All right.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yeah, just keep listening.
Take that, Sudan.
Woo! All right.
Oh, there's a coronavirus one. I might have to.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
check that one out.
Oh yeah. But you see, this is why the ends justify the memes.
That's correct. That's correct, sir. Hey guys, we do need to get off here so Tank can go. I don't know, do whatever the hell he's going to do. Abandon us. If you watch regularly, we're here every Wednesday at 7 p.m. This Wednesday, we should have Don from Plebeian Media on. So to accommodate his schedule, we'll be on at 6 p.m. Eastern. So this Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern with Don of Plebeian Media. As far as I know, with his handler, scheduler, whatever you want to call him, we got him for the full 2 hours. So we'll probably run memes with him, and we'll be talking to him about the DC invasion. The DC insurrection. And we'll figure out, we'll let you know about next week. Guys, I haven't watched a fight in weeks, so I'm probably going to watch the fights.
Yeah.
Well, it's also, it's me hanging out with my best friend. I don't do very often unless we watch fights. So in any case, yes, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. This week, the 13th, or at 6 p.m. And what you got, Tank?
I got nothing.
All right, you look like you're going to say something.
Nope.
Kids,
I'm just.
No worries.
Kids, you got anything to plug for yourself, man?
Not much really, because yesterday we didn't do a stream with Yiz because she was busy with family stuff. But obviously, please, ladies and gentlemen, for all the viewers here, please like and subscribe, and please share. Please share this video far and wide. We want to get this channel up to 100 subs very quickly.
Yeah, that'd be nice, man.
Ideally before February, we want to get to 100 subs, and then we're going to go for 250, and then 500, and then 1,000.
We're at 69 right now on YouTube, and we got 53 on D Live. So that's very achievable. I'm up to nearly 100 on my own channel. That's all -1. If you guys aren't aware, I made a probably pretty boring video yesterday, but I think it's important. It was about terms and just things based on first principles, because if you're going to defeat people with ideas, you have to understand what their ideas are and what is wrong with their ideas as far as how they present them, because they will often misrepresent what they say. Like commies don't seem to understand that creating a giant state that rules your entire life is not just going to disappear overnight. But in any case, folks, with all that said, this has been the ends justify the memes. And remember, the ends always justify those memes. Tank, play that outro, buddy.
I'm talking about all the way to the top, yeah. Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in, but the cream will rise to the top, oh yeah. Macho Madness, yeah, it's got more to offer than President Jack Tunney thinks that I got, yeah. And I'm gonna tell you something right now.